Hey everyone, this is Chuck, and you're listening to the ITXP. I wanted to focus today's conversation around my Tech Lead Shift series, in where, as a practitioner with my 30 years of experience in corporate technology, I'm starting to see a lot of changes within leadership as the advent of AI progresses throughout corporations in America. Plain and simple. This was my initial attempt to really focus on whether or not I wanted to pursue a PhD program in this very topic. Because when you go into a PhD program, you should really have an understanding of what you want to research on. Barring any attempts of applying to PhD programs and things like that, I figured, you know what? Why not just talk about the things that I see? Why not just talk about my experiences in my current organization and the conversations I've had around the industry through various channels, whether they be conferences or whatnot, and just talk about these observations. I have 6 articles published already. They're published on Substack. I also publish them on LinkedIn. But the landing page for all my series is techleadshift.com. Check it out if you ever want to get access to it from the single source of truth without having to go look for it. So the last 3 articles really focused around that shift in how things were, and the last article really hit the nail on the head in how things are going to be in the future. Again, just my insights, my observations, my experiences. 2 articles prior to the last one, so there's 6 articles posted. I talked about how AI is going to expose bad management, and I use myself as an example. Because look, I'm not here proclaiming I'm the best leader in corporate America, because I'm not. I'm not here saying I'm the best technologist, because I'm not. I'm here telling you that I've been playing this game for many years. And when AI came to the table in 23 for me, I started to see a shift in behaviors and patterns from a leadership perspective. So, Article 4 talked about AI exposing bad management because people take to ambiguity a lot better than AI systems do. People ask questions for the most part. People look for clarity. People look for validation. So you can slack off on your leadership skills by being ambiguous, by maybe not defining certain things because maybe you didn't think about it. Or maybe you're holding back on certain things because you want your own people to grow, because you're a leader, you want your team to grow, you want your team's skill set to get better and better. I've always said that your role in my team should be to achieve to my level, to where I want. You want my job, essentially. That's what I would always say is you want my job, because then that gives me the ability to move up and things like that. That was the old mindset. That was the old mindset. That was climbing the corporate ladder. But with the advent of AI, that whole paradigm shift, right, is happening. The corporate ladder is broken. Really, the corporate ladder is broken from my perspective. So when I talk about bad leadership practices that AI is exposing, it's that human to human interaction where, let's face it, the reality is a lot of people are not good at managing people. They're not. They don't understand people. They just feel like whatever. I'm not even going to go into the dynamics of how people lead other people. So that article talked about that. You should go check it out. Then the next article talked about the future leaders in corporate America. The future leaders are going to be system designers, the people that we've typically hid away in the back room, not allowing to talk to customers because they just know how to think about system designs and designing optimal workflows, things like these are your rock stars within your organization that you keep at a certain level, because if you know if you promote them, you're going to lose that skill set. And I've said it because I've been in that position. I'm currently in that position now, not being able to move up for two reasons. First, I'm an asset more at where I'm at now than if I were to move up. Not to say that I wouldn't be an asset when I move up, but I know they see me more valuable in my current role. I know this. I play that game. I know this. I know that I'm being kept where I'm at because I'm executing and delivering to the corporate strategy way better than anyone else that would sit in this position, which is why they gave me additional responsibilities without the additional pay. But it's a game. It's a game. It's a quid pro quo, right? They give me something, I give them something, they give me something. And some of that stuff isn't monetary all the time. It's the flexibility and freedom to do other things. Because again, I'm not defined by my job at where I work. I'm not defined by that. My definition of who I am as a person is how I do my work, how I bring the values that I care about in terms of work ethic to the table, getting paid decent amount of wage to support my lifestyle. My lifestyle is getting a little bit grandiose for my tastes. I got to cut back. But anyway, but I also get the flexibility to do what I need to do to continue other interests like corporate hardcore, like tech lead shift, and continuing this long growing story and saga of me trying to put out insightful and valuable podcasts to people that would actually listen. So it's a quid pro quo. So I know that. The second thing is I don't think I'm ready to move up yet. As much as I want to, because there's going to be a significant pay increase into the next level, I'm hesitant to do it because I honestly feel like it's going to change who I am. Because you have to play the game. And sometimes when you play the game, you get lost in that. And you're going to have to play the game. It's a constant 2-year cycle, right? It's boom, you got to boom, you got to, you got boom, you got to boom, you got to boom. And I'm telling you this because of my last article, right? So article 5 was about the new leadership model. Leaders who are good system designers or system thinkers will be your future leaders in corporate America, because most of corporate America is going to be run by agentic systems. Most corporations in America will be run by agentic systems. Before I get to the last one, my latest article, the reason I just said this is because it came out of AWS Summit last week. Actually, no, Wednesday. Today is June 19th. June 17th, to AWS Summit. Everything in there tracks to what folks in my organization were talking about around autonomous systems, self-healing systems, things that we've been working towards for many, many years, coming to fruition based on the models that are being deployed, agents that are being created, and the work that's being done to train those agents. So I worked on AWS DevOps agents that effectively resolved an outage within 5 minutes. There was no incident call. There was no paging out to somebody. There was no, what run book are we using? The agents analyzed the logs, found the problem, resolved the problem, and the service was back up within 5 minutes. All done with the AWS at DevOps agent. Now, this is good in theory. Again, the skeptic in me is saying, do we really trust these agents to be autonomous in the environment? Do we really? Are we ready for that? As a society, are we ready for that? And then I always go back to this. This is nothing new for industry. This is new for the knowledge worker industry. This is why we have information technology thing. We're knowledge workers. But labor, the labor industry, the blue collar industry has been taken over by automation many years ago. Many years ago. You trust that to produce cars, to produce electronics, to produce everything, all done from what I understand. Majority of that's all done via automated processes. And yeah, if something breaks, you have somebody in there as a human to fix it. But now we're saying we're going to leverage agentic systems to fix those problems and make the decisions on their own based on the information that they have. So are we ready as an industry, a knowledge worker industry, to be able to say the agent is the one that's fixing the problem? And it goes back to my article around exposing bad management practices, because if you're not documenting everything soup to nuts, right? If you have bad data, you're gonna have a bad agent, just like a human. You're not training that human with the data that you use in your everyday work. That human's gonna be like, well, this is how we always done it. And if they're not motivated enough, if they're not sometimes if they're not even capable enough to think outside the box, right? They're not going to be able to grow and improve upon. Now, these agents don't have a desire to get promoted and things like that at this point, right? They're not. Let's hope not, right? They've not become self-aware, but they're going to find efficiencies and make them and improve the system overall. I do this in my daily life. I always iterate through my various projects and ask the agents to look for opportunities for improvement and efficiencies and report back on them and tell me why they're efficient or more efficient. I always ask that of the agent because I ask that of my team. And when I see my team not doing that, I get a little bit frustrated. And some of the responses I get back were like, well, there's not enough time. Well, that's true, but you got to make time. So are we ready for an industry where it's all run by agents? So systems design thinkers will be the new future leaders in an agentic world. The last article, my latest one. I talked about this at the beginning. Performance, playing the game, playing the game, playing the game. Leadership is all about playing the game. It's about performance theater. In a world of agentic systems, who are you performing to? The AI doesn't give a shit. The AI doesn't care. The AI is just to say, tell me what to do. Give me the data to do. The AI is not going to come to a stand up and say, yeah, I'm working on it. Meanwhile, you're like already 2 weeks behind. But you have the charisma and the ability to perform in front of your leadership that they don't ask any questions because they know you can deliver. But meanwhile, It's like, what do we say? It's like a duck on top of water, right? Duck looks calm and serene, but underneath its feet are paddling 1,000 miles a minute. Many people work like that. They thrive in that environment. But that performance theater is going away. And I've had to explain this to a few people within my team because without so many words, without saying that in so many words, that they're just putting on a performance, I've effectively said the company is pivoting to the way leaders work in this company. The biggest tagline, besides the multiplying yourself or whatever they call it, right, is no spectators. No spectators at this company. We do not need paper pushers, effectively saying. We need people to deliver a product and something that will add value to the organization. Now, if you're a company or your organization is not doing that right now, get ready. Because we're now in year 3 of the agentic transformation. And a lot of companies now outside of the Fortune 50 and Fortune 100 are now looking at what other companies have done and expecting their workforce to do the same. It's getting scary out there. It's getting scary out there. Now you have leaders that probably don't understand. And this is one of the things I bring back to. I could probably market myself and consult companies on how they can make this shift into AI and make a boatload of money. And there are people doing that. But the human inside of me says, I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't do this because I'm going to impact thousands of jobs. And people are like, Chuck, you're full of yourself. Yeah, I kind of am, but I also kind of really believe that. That kind of like, I really, really believe that. If I were to go out and market myself, and believe me, I looked on Upwork many, many times over the past 2 months. And I see what people are asking. I'm like, yeah, I could do that. But I don't think companies are ready to really understand what the impact that will have to their culture and to the organization overall. There's gonna be a lot of people unemployed. A lot of people. I'm worried about that because I'm worried about my own employment. They're like, and I hear you now. Well, Chuck, just go on consulting. Like, yeah, I could do that. I don't even need to go consult. I just build my own app, right? Train the models based on me. Like I've seen that. You've seen these business consultants doing that. The first one I saw was Tony Robbins, right? He has his own app now and it's his voice. And you just query the model trained on 40 years of his experience and his work. He doesn't have to talk ever again. His legacy will live on maybe for all eternity. Who knows? And that's what corporate hardcore was about because of the absurdity of corporate America. That's why I started it last year. And I'm starting to integrate the AI stuff in. I had to build a base first. That's why corporate hardcore started. Because I don't believe in the corporate institution. I don't. I don't believe in it. I never did. But I used it to make a living for myself. So performance management is going away. You can't play the game anymore. This game's not going to care. There are already one-person systems, companies out there. In AWS, there was a company at the AWS Summit. There was a company that was looking to either improve an app. Oh, they were going to do a new market charting system, a financial market charting system. Again, you have to take a lot of this with a grain of salt because it's all performance as well. So they were trying to build a new market charting system, and they estimated that it would take 12 developers and I think it was like 24 months to complete. With the help of AWS, they cut it down to one person and deployed the app in 2 months. And people are like, oh, wow, yeah, that's really good. And I hear some of you already, they're like, you're probably like, no, that's not possible. How do you build one app? You need a really smart person that understands what the outcome is and understands all the components that are involved in it. I have one guy on my team. So I have a pretty decent team, right? They're really good. But one guy who's an architect has been in the cloud space since AWS was released to the public in 2008, and he's never looked back. He's one of these guys where you don't want him talking to the people because he doesn't know how to talk to people, but he's a really smart guy. So an initiative came our way, and he had just started using Claude Code. Just started using it because we were just approved to get access to it. I said, "Hey man, I gotta throw you on this because I don't have time for this. I'm dealing with other shit. I need you to do it because the other guys are working on other things for our zero touch platform." And he's like, "Oh man," he's like, "I don't know anything about anything this, right?" I'm like, I know, but look, just sit in on there, leverage Claude, whatever you need to do, just figure it out." He's like, "All right, no problem." So the man himself stood up an environment in Azure in literally 2 weeks using Claude. And he had Claude do everything for him. He told you, he gave the spec and do everything. So it was great. He got accolades, blah, 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 blah. Then last week, I think last week, or maybe no, 2 weeks ago now. No, it was last week. Shit, lose track of days. Somebody came to me and asked for an app factory. We have these citizen makers that are going to start vibe coding apps, and they need a place to host these apps. What can you do for us? I'm like, wow. I was like, well, we're not, I didn't say we're not there yet. I was like, well, our main focus has been infrastructure, but just give us some requirements and we can start planning out how we can do this. And the long and the short of it is the applied AI team within my corporate technology group was actually working on this already, but they put a pause on it because they didn't have enough developers to do this. And I said, hey guys, we've automated 90% of our infrastructure deployment. Let us take this and you guys focus on the guardrails, you know, the governance of the AI models that they use and the instruction set that you guys focus on that. We'll focus on the infrastructure stuff. Don't worry about it. So we both went back to the table and we launched up our Claude sessions. I already provided him a straw man. He took that straw man, put his inputs in there, came out with a spec, and I took that spec, and I was already working on an app that I was vibe coding. It was a side project for my team that eventually is going to expand out to the rest of the engineering team. But regardless, I was already vibe coding it, but it wasn't a focus of mine because I had, look, I have like 20,000 other things to do that are more important. But I was just using this to continue learning, and I threw it into the spec, And I told Claude Code, I was like, here's our model. Um, excuse me, here's our platform. This is our workflow. Refactor this application because the application was originally designed as a Node.js application, um, using SQL and a couple of things, right? So it churned it out. It dumped it out into it adhered to our spec, and we deployed it in a week and a half. We have version 0.1 of our App Factory platform in a matter of literally days because with meetings and things like that, we have it done. And honestly, he did it all himself because again, I'm leading the team. Not to say that I want to, but I get pulled in so many different directions with a lot of vulnerability stuff that's going on that I said, save me some breadcrumbs, please, because I want to be a part of this. And he started laughing because he was already working on it on the side. And I said, dude, I was like, calm down. And he's like, no, he's like, this is a really good thing. I was like, no, I know. I was like, I'm not diminishing anything you're doing. It's just save me some breadcrumbs because I want to work on this too, because I'm a nerd too. This is why we're in technology. This is a really cool thing that we want to do. So we have the level 0.1 of our app factor. There are other things we need to do and iterate on, but if you think you can't build a system by yourself, then you need to continue learning and understanding how you build a system. We're not software engineers. We're infrastructure folks. But because we're an infrastructure, we've worked with thousands, actually countless of software engineers and understand how they work. And the reason why we understand how they work is because they come to us with problems that they can't figure out. So what do we do when someone comes to us with problems? We ask a lot of questions and we learn. We understand why they made those decisions. We understand why certain things interact with each other. We understand what their thought processes were around how to get certain things done. So we look, I wouldn't call myself a software engineer or developer or anything like that, but I have an understanding of how things work. And now that I don't need a software engineer to build something for me, I can tell the model what I want done and it'll do it for me and continue iterating on that. So when I say when performance theater is dying, it's going to be dead within the next 6 to 12 months. I really truly feel that because leadership is changing. The whole leadership model is changing. And I'm telling you from my own experiences, so you can start looking at what's going on within your own organization or even your own life. I started doing a video series with my friend Rudy around Claude, just walking him through it. That first episode, if you haven't watched it, it's on YouTube. Go check it out because you'll see the shift in his mindset when he saw what you can actually do. Because a lot of people still use it like it's Google. And I'm like, it's so much more than that. And even my own family, like they still treat it like it's Google, like it's a fun little toy to have. But they don't understand the value that it can bring and elevate your skill sets. And Sabrina Romanoff talks about it too, right? There's two types of people that'll be successful with AI, right? Those that leverage it to enhance your skill sets, to improve your continuous learning, or those that use it just to make them dumber, all right? And we've heard this for ages. Oh, you're never going to have a calculator in your pocket. You're always going to have to learn long division or whatever math, right? Those are things that I heard when I was a kid. I don't know what they say nowadays, but you have everything at your fingertips. And if you delegate enough to the technology, yeah, you'll become dumb. But if you delegate the mundane things to technology and allow you to, and that allows you to think about more complex work, then that's what you should be doing. That's what you should be focusing on, because performance theater and leadership is going out the window. And that means that it's an opportunity for you to probably either find a niche within your organization and become a leader and maybe get paid more than what you are, because maybe you're struggling. Maybe you're thinking about your family and how you're going to continue providing for your family, because these are the thoughts that go through my mind every single day. And I've been successful in my career, thank goodness. But I've also been laid off twice. And now as I'm getting older, that hangs over my head every single day. Every day I walk into the office, when I go into the office, I think about that. And we joke about it. Those long timers that are there, I was like, "Oh, you're still here?" And we laugh because we know what we mean. "Hey, Chuck, how's it going?" "I'm still here. I'm still here." So when I think about the future, I think about my own family. I think about what happens if I lose my job. I think about what that impact does to my family, what it does to me. Because again, I don't my identity is not my job or my career. My identity is who I am, right? It's the insights that I bring, the knowledge that I bring, and the decisions that I make. Now, I don't make good decisions all the time. Believe me, I don't. But if you're paying me to make a decision, just know that that decision is something I stand by. I don't perform for anybody. So performance theater is going out the window. Think about what opportunities are going to be available for you in this new world of agentic systems. You should continue playing. You should continue learning. If you haven't started yet, it's still not too late. Just go out there. You'll hear people say, "Oh, it's too late by 2027," or some nonsense out there. It's too late for them. It's not too late for you. Think about some other side quests that you can do to continue building. There's a lot of stuff on Upwork. I was looking at Upwork again. I haven't looked at it in a couple years, but I only looked at it because I was watching the Sabrina Romanoff, and she's like, "There's a lot of stuff in Upwork that if you have a pulse and you can actually communicate well, you'll get a job." So I'm gonna try to put that to the test, because whatever, if you've been listening to me long enough, you've heard my episodes around effective communication and how valuable that is to your career. There's a lot of people that can't communicate. Even a lot of smart people that can't communicate. A lot of smart people can't communicate. So if you find that niche in terms of being able to communicate, then you better take advantage of that. So I'm going to start looking at Upwork. There's some fractional work that's out there that I'm going to start applying to and just pitching up proposals to. Some having to do with AI, some not having to do with AI. And I think it's part of that growing trend in the face of corporate America is changing. And being tied down to one company is probably something that's going by the wayside, especially with the kids coming in nowadays, because the kids coming up nowadays, they grew up in the gig economy, Uber, Lyft, things like that, right? And if you look at, and I hate to say, because you guys are going to yell at me and things like that, but China, right? That's the economy they live in. There's a delivery person for like you can get food delivered at like 2 o'clock in the morning in rural China because somebody's up, somebody's gonna deliver that food for you. And I'm joking. I don't know rural China. I've only been to tier 2, tier 1 cities, right? But I'm sure, and and it's not like a creepy guy coming to your house, which is the stark contrast between the two economies. I don't order any food to my house. I always pick it up because I don't trust the people that are coming to my house. There's a lot of sketchy people in my area, a lot of sketchy people, because that's the culture we live in, right? It's all about the self. It's not about the society. Where on the flip side, China's always been about the society, about the culture, right? Just about the family. So they're not out there to kind of whatever to you. I don't even know the word I'm looking for, but here in America, there's a lot of sketchy folks. Even when I ordered an Uber to go to the airport, I was like, man, should I order the Uber Black? And even when I ordered Uber Black, it was like, dude, it was so sketchy. Like, I don't, yeah, he's got a nice car, but I don't know. And then when I didn't order an Uber Black and I got a regular car, there was somebody in there like, you know, Nissan Altima living her life out of the car. She's talking to me about having to pick up her kid. I'm like, yeah, I get it. Like, but that just I don't know. That's just me. Look, that's just me. Call me bougie or whatever, because I'm calling for a car and not driving myself. And look, the reason I'm not driving myself is because now I have another person in the house driving a car, so I need to have 2 cars available, right? So it's not being bougie, it's looking out for my family, you son of a bitch. So, so performance theater going away. There are a lot of opportunities for you to really think about what it is you wanna do. If you haven't started, please start now. Look at the Claude series that I'm building in on YouTube. It's there. It's a playlist of its own. Start looking at that. Start thinking through it. Start seeing what it can benefit you. Even if you're not a technologist, even if you're not a technologist. And look, some of these stories about, oh, I made, $50,000 in a month, right? Or I'm making $10,000 a day or something like take that with a grain of salt. Because as you peel back the layers, some of these people already had a foundation in the work that they were doing. So they just exposed that by leveraging AI and it accelerated that work. So if anything, performance theater is still alive on YouTube or in social media because all they want you to do is just buy their program or use their software. It's funny because Sabrina, I follow her because I appreciate the folks that come out flat out and tell you saying, "Hey, I'm not going to charge you for anything. This is here for you to use. I'm taking the sweat off my back and give it to you. Use it how you wish." I appreciate that. That's why I started following her. Most other people are like, "Hey, sign up for my article." And look, I kind of have to do that too, for my travel business because I do need to attract people to my travel business. Earned Escape, that agency, if you're interested. Um, and I built that all with AI. So I understand the need to do that. You need to get people, you need to get leads and things like that. It's very, very difficult in this market to get leads. So you have to do something to attract people and I understand signing up for newsletters and things like that. So I get that because I'm gonna have to do. I'm starting that with my Earned Escape travel business, but I'm also being authentic about it and saying I'm definitely not selling your information. And the reason why you can trust me is because I work in corporate IT, corporate technology for 30 years. Half of that as an email admin. So I understand spam and I understand the despise and disdain for that. So you can kind of trust me, or if not, put your trust in me, and you'll see. I'll earn your trust because you do have to earn trust. But I get it, right? But there's people out there like, top 5 secrets for Claude. Sign up for my newsletter or PDF, blah, 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 blah. And then they rope you into, a $97 training program. That's not how you get rich. That's how much time do I have? I have like 2 minutes before I have to go. So that's a model in the personal development space that has been ongoing since when I got into it. I started reading about it in probably the early 2000s. And I think I talked about this before. Um, I forgot the guy's name. I always forget the guy's name. It's Robert something. And his book was Seven Streams of Income, something like that. And the playbook was that, right? Attract leads to your site, um, start building the community, blah blah blah, and then hit them with a paid subscription, right? Substack is all of that. Like everything you're seeing is that same playbook, right? Knowledge, information, blah blah blah, personal development. Bring them in with something free, then hit them up with upsell, right, later on, because your knowledge is what you're selling. You're not selling your time, you're selling your knowledge. So I see it all in the, like shit. I do this every fucking year with Tony Robbins. He gets me as like a free ding blah, like this yesterday, and I couldn't even go because I was at the Knicks parade. Hey, there's improve your life in 2026, right? This 1 day free seminar. We break down the barriers and just give you 5 tips, blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, I know he provides really good things. Let me sign up. And then as soon as you sign up, upgrade to VIP for $1. I'm like, yeah, I can do VIP for $1. Yeah, why not? Let's do VIP for $1. And then he sells you again. He's like, add on this thing to blah 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 blah. I didn't do it this time, but I did the first time, like during COVID, right? $97. Get the, and then you're gonna feed like 1 million people with those $97. So do it, but like it's an upsell. It's like a constant upsell, right? Join my platform so you can teach your own people. You can build your own knowledge account and train people and get drive people to your company. Sign up. So I signed up for. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. Woo! And a year later, I spent $29 a month for a platform that I never used. So I get it. Like I get it. But there's better ways of doing this. There's better ways of doing it. If that's not your jam, right? Upselling people is not your jam, which is not mine, right? That's why my wife was the biggest one saying, "Why are you going into a sales role where you hate selling? You can't sell ice to an Eskimo, right? Why are you or water in a desert? You can't sell water in a desert. Why are you going into the sales?" And I'm like, because that's my biggest weakness is sales. Like, how do you grow, right? You attack your biggest weakness, right? My other biggest weakness is food. So I went on a health journey. I dropped 50 pounds in a year, right? So you got it. That's how you grow. You continue growing by pushing your limits. And I don't want to get all preachy. I don't want to get all preachy, but I think ultimately the reason why you're listening to this is you're seeking something out. And maybe I'm giving you some insights. Maybe I'm giving you some glimmer of hope based off of what I've always said, the sweat off my back. I've done the work. Now I'm giving you the experiences based off of that work. And that's why I've always done this. I've always done this just because somewhere it may help someone. And if it does, perfect. If it doesn't, it helps me because it helps me get shit off my mind. It helps me. I can't talk about this to anyone else because they don't understand. And maybe you're that person that understands, and I don't know you, and you don't know me personally, but maybe it helps. And that's why I do it. I really do. It's almost like self therapy for me because I'm able to get this shit off my mind, and also it keeps me honest to myself. Yeah, this project, the ITXP, has been a selfish project its entire existence. That's why it's not consistent. That's why You'll get maybe 1 or 2 episodes a year, right? But it's a selfish project for me. And honestly, I think sometimes you have to be selfish in order to get what you need to get to where you wanna get to. You have to be. Okay, maybe you're the breadwinner in a family, but you have to be selfish at some point to continue to achieve and drive what you wanna do. Maybe you don't know what you wanna do and you're being held back by your family, because sometimes your family is the biggest, anchor, right? Keeping you down. And I'm not saying destroy your whole family, right? Like I did. I haven't yet, but it's getting close. But if your family can truly be a family and survive your selfishness, maybe it'll come out for the better. Who knows? So this is why I do it. I try to provide my insights and observations. I'm no expert, but I try a lot of shit and I see a lot of shit and I do a lot of shit. And yeah, it's shit, but sometimes, shit works out for me. And that's all I can say. So thanks for listening. I appreciate it. Check out my Tech Lead Shift series. I'm not selling you anything. Um, Even if you're a member, don't want to sell you shit. Unless you really want something from me, we could talk about it, and I could put something together. But just know that it's going to come at a cost because my time is valuable. Not to dissuade you, it's to set the expectations is if you really want me to help you, it's going to come at a cost because my time is valuable, just like your time. But without even knowing you yet, I know my time is going to be a little bit more valuable than yours because that's how I value myself. So thank you for listening, and I will catch you next time. Appreciate it.
En The Home Depot sabemos que para papá, el garage es su santuario y el lugar donde empieza sus proyectos. Así que regálale más espacio con cajas de herramientas con ruedas y organizadores que se montan en la pared para que tenga todo a la mano. Y claro, nunca está de más regalarle herramientas nuevas para su colección. Como el combo Kit Ryobi de 2 herramientas con atornillador y taladro por solo $99. Este Día del Padre, encuentra herramientas de almacenaje con precios bajos garantizados en The Home Depot. Aplican exclusiones. Visita homedepot.com/price match para más detalles.